Roadshow here.
Back on the Roadshow. We're knocking some doors out here in the Central Valley, Modesto, Turlock area. So we got about, 13 doors?
13. We just hit our first one.
Yep.
Got quite a day today. So Ray showed up early this morning. Like he just said, we got 13 probate leads that we've been in conversation with. We picked up a new one here in Modesto. So that's kind of our way in. We got a new property. We're in the area. We thought we'd stop by and put a face with our voices and give you some information and just say hi. So you know the drill.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then we got to run out to Dos Palos to go do an avid on a property that is closing next week. We're going to take you to that too. That's going to be an interesting story. And then we're going to go and record our podcast for the day.
Yeah. And excuse the camera. We're trying to hold it here.
We're not professionals, man.
No, this is a live, uncut version.
Yeah.
But
We sell real estate. We're not in the Directors Guild.
Right. So, but yeah, this is part of the deal, right? The first door we just knocked, they weren't there, so we left a postcard, a little note. We knocked on the door. We're in the area. And it's just follow-up, right? It's calling, knocking, you're in the area, and this is just part of what it is. So, I mean, there's a ton of business out there. If you work it, you got to get out the office. You got to go knock doors, people you had a conversation with, and let them see who you are, give them something of value, see you're professional, and that you're here to help. And that's just what the game is.
I will let you in on a fantastic strategy, right?
Yeah.
Now, let me digress. So the Roadshow that we're doing right now, this is the story part of the Probate Hero Collective.
Yeah, what we're doing, calling, knocking, just as behind the scenes, to share with the viewers. Now we got how many viewers?
I think we're at like 127 now.
We got like 3 more.
Yeah.
We're making progress.
The first guy from the couch, man, he must have hit like his Facebook friend list or something.
But that's what it is, right? To help you as agents know what it is and how this process works if you want to add this to your business.
Yeah, and the strategy part that I wanted to mention is, like Ray mentioned, we have some information to hand off when we get to the door. So we use postcards. Yeah, we can mail the postcard, and for a lot of these, they've probably already received the postcard that I send out. But again, it's just something extra to have in your hand to give them. But here's the strategy. On our postcard, and I can kind of show it to you. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, just give some of value. There you go.
Postcard. See that QR code on there? So that QR code, what that does when they click on it, it takes them to a webinar, a recorded webinar that we did that explains to an administrator or executor, if they're planning on selling the estate home during probate, it walks them through the entire process.
Right, informative information.
Gives them all the info. It lets them know what they should expect from the real estate agent that they hire, what that agent should know. It gives them the top 10 questions to ask any realtor that they're interviewing, just to determine that specific agent's level of knowledge and experience regarding handling probate real estate. And then it runs them through the whole timeline of what they should expect when they put the house up for sale, the documents that they're going to be required to provide to the title company so the title company can close the sale, disclosures that they're exempt from.
Right.
What it really does is it sets us apart from everybody else, right? We're giving them value. We're providing them with the info that is opening up their eyes to the journey they're going to embark on if they are deciding to sell the estate home.
Right.
And again, we're taking a much less aggressive approach in our verbiage, but our activities are extremely aggressive. I mean, we're out here door knocking.
Right. Yeah, it's just part of the deal. You got to get out and get in front of them. That's the main thing. You got to get in front of them. So this is why it's been a weekly thing for us to keep creating the business coming in. And again, if you're working this business, right, you have different lead sources, you have people you've talked to, you have people you're door knocking. You have people that are ready. You have people that are ready to do something now. People that don't want to do anything. And we'll explain all that later as well. So for now, this is what it is. We're giving you an uncut version, and we'll see you guys soon.
We got 12 more to go, so we'll keep you updated. Before we go off this clip, maybe share a little bit on who this next probate lead is. Like maybe some backstory on them.
Yeah, so this one right here, right, I'm pulling up my notes here. This is basically a pro per meaning there's no attorney involved, and left a few messages. Haven't heard from them, but it's in our area on the appointment we do have and we did have. So we figured, well, let's just go to the door. Let's see if we can get them at the door and then just give them something of value. And again, right, we'll see what happens. And this is who this next person is. So until then,
we did pick up one that you spoke to. I forget her name. It's two administrators. They live in Nevada, but the property's here in Modesto.
Yes.
She called me by accident yesterday. Remember that?
Yeah, and I followed up. I called her back. She says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I must have butt down." I said, "Hey, no problem. We're here to answer any questions." And she says, "Well, you know what? What I'll do is I do have your information. Thank you for the email we did send, and I will be touching base with you guys next week." So that one's in the works as well.
What was awesome about that was, so part of the system, like we explained on, I forget what episode it was, but you know, our system, after we have a good conversation with somebody, I put them into our KV Core drip campaign.
Yeah, that our company EXP gives us at no charge, that allows you to do these automated systems that you have set up and dialed in and got to a T.
And they're best to use after you've already initiated conversation with them.
That's right.
There was a time where we were utilizing the technology just cold, and it was successful. You know, we did
but
a lot.
We got a lot of stop, or we don't want to be, because they don't know who we are. So to your point, we want to have that connection and then put them on because it allows that extra follow-up.
And what ended up happening is, because Ray had a productive conversation with the administrator prior to going into the campaign, when she received the text messages and emails, one of the emails has a link to register for that recorded webinar for administrators and executors. And she registered and she watched it. You know, we can tell, the analytics tell us how much of the webinar they watched. You know, it's a 40 minute webinar. She watched the whole thing. So that's a very good sign. And then the fact that she called, even though it was on accident, and said, "I'll talk to you guys next week." Of course, we're going to call her before then.
For sure.
But that's just a good example how all those touches, phone calls, door knocking, postcards, putting them on an automated drip system, just to keep you relevant and in their mind, how it will turn into deals flowing your direction.
Correct.
So if you haven't created some type of content that you can share with your prospects, you need to get on that. You need to do that. And if you need help putting that together, just hit us up. You know, we're here to make you a probate hero.
That's right. All right. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you on the next clip.
All right, so we're back. So we just hit the last door. The good news is it was listed. So
just not by us.
Not by us. So, and I say good news is because we want people to say we got it covered. We don't need your services or what have you. That way we can move it off and we can focus on people that we can help. So this one, unfortunately, was listed. So it gives me clarity, that we could take that out the list and done deal. Now the next one we're going to, this one was a gal that we spoke to, and she said, you know, we're not sure what we're going to do. We don't know if we're going to sell. Now we always ask for the email, that way we can send information. She was a little hesitant to give the email, which is fine, and she asked, can I call you back if we have questions? I said, absolutely, that's why we're here. And so I just put on the notes that, okay, we'll follow up. Her court date to get approved as the administrator, which gives her certified letters, is December 18th. So it's on the way, and that's a home we're going to hit. We're going to knock on the door, and and we're going to give the postcard, and just that way she could see who we are and what we do, right? And so that's like I said, that's part of the deal and how this game works. So like I said, if they've already listed, they don't want to work with us, fine.
Take them off the list.
Take them off the list. And if they do want to work with us, then our chances of them working with us just goes up a notch when they could see a live person. So with that being said,
on to the next one.
Well, on to the next one. All right, cool. So we just hit this door that we just talked about a second ago, and took a few times. We knocked, nobody was coming to the door. We knew there was cars there. We knocked, rung the doorbell, and then I was leaving a little note on the postcard, which we'll typically do if nobody answers. And then I said, you know, let me try one more time. So we rung the doorbell again, and all of a sudden the door opened, and a lady comes to the door, and we just said, good morning, sorry to come up so early.
She was in her pajamas, man.
Yeah, she was, looked like she was getting up, and I said, kind of like she's looking at us like who we are. So I just said, well, we're just stopping by. I talked to her on the phone in reference to probate, and I said, she's the administrator on this file. And I said, who is that? She goes, well, that's my daughter. I go, oh, so this one, it was good we did door knock, because it was the mom we were speaking to, and it's a divorce situation, and she
her ex-husband died.
Yep, her ex-husband passed, unfortunately. And so we just kind of talked to her, and that was the person we needed to speak to, because that's the mom. So now we know when we're calling, more or less, even though the daughter is the administrator, the mom more or less will obviously be, I think, having a little bit more.
The daughter's 22 years old.
The daughter's 22, so she's younger. So we said, well, what's your name? Her name, gave her name. I said, well, nice to meet you. We just wanted to come by. We wanted to give you some information. And she kind of asked us a few questions.
She thought we were buyers.
She thought we were buyers, right?
So that gave us a chance to explain, oh, no, we actually represent estates when they're selling, to add an extra layer of protection.
Right.
And then I got into what kind of protection that is, why it's important to have somebody representing the estate who understands how to sell a property that's in probate. It's close, yeah.
Picking up the phone and fell.
Our navigation slipped. But we were able to explain that there's disclosures the estate's exempt from. There's specific probate documents that have to be included in the sale for the escrow to close. And if these things aren't done correctly, it could cause a ton of problems. It could even open the estate up for lawsuits.
Well, let me just jump in real quick. And I think by you explaining that right there, her confidence with her guard coming down kind of opened up a little more. Oh, okay, kind of like I didn't know that. And we said, well, that's what we're here for. And the other option is you don't have to sell the home, and if you don't want it, and you explain that, and that's when she said, well, we probably may have to.
Yeah. Right. Apparently the ex-husband has a tremendous amount of debts. She said it's a big mess, so they have to sell the house. But what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to facilitate that sale for them, make sure everything goes smoothly, and potentially, if there's enough equity in the home, we'll be able to help the mother and daughter relocate to another property.
100%. And this is, as we always keep explaining, this is just another level to get you, the estate working with you, to see that you're here to help them. So I think by us showing up, now she's seen who we are. So when we're calling, she kind of gets it. And then we'll follow up. The court date for her to get approved, the daughter, is next month in December. And we'll follow up as well. And that will give her what's called, as we said, the certified letters. And then they can decide what they want to do. And hopefully by the information you provided, the QR code that they can go to that explains all that they could watch it at their time. And if they have questions, they'll reach out. So it's just another layer to kind of for them to be able to want to work with us.
And now that we met the mother at the door and she put faces with our names and our material, she's gonna go into the drip system when we get back. She's gonna go into the drip system and start receiving tremendous value from us.
Yep.
And when it comes time for the daughter to be approved, we're already going to have ourselves cemented in. We're already going to have the listing locked up. So when she's approved, we're going to be able to just roll right into preparing the property for sale.
Right. So anyhow, just sharing you behind the scenes, and until the next one.
Where's the next one we're going to?
Yeah, we're going straight. We got the navigation here going. All right. So we just hit 2 doors, and here's the good news. I say good news is because we pulled up to one of the houses. There was a truck there, 2 workers. We're like, oh, maybe those are the administrators. So we got out, we knocked on the door. Took a little while, then he did come to the door, and kind of a little standoffish, which is normal. So you always step back. You don't go right to the door. You step back, give them their space, and just ask if he was the administrator. He said yes, and said we were stopping by. I said, did you get the message we left earlier this week? He goes, I'm not sure what's going on. And I said, well, we're just stopping by. We noticed that this estate over there is going through probate, and we just wanted to give some information. He goes, well, my wife's a realtor. I said, oh, okay, that's great.
Great.
Which, as I said, that's good news, is because pretty much the options which you want when you're calling these estates, obviously you want them to say they're open, yes, send me information, they're willing to work with you. But then the other options you want is A, they don't want to sell, or B, their wife, their spouse is a realtor, or C, they're just not interested, because then you could just take them out of that pile. It clogs up the good leads. So this one, they're gone. And then this other state,
before you get to the next one.
Yep.
When the gentleman told us that his wife's a realtor.
Yeah.
When that comes up, whether it's at the door or if you're calling somebody and you get the response, my wife, my husband, my sister, whoever is a realtor, I always like to add, oh great, you got the business taken care of in the family. If your wife needs any help navigating the sale of a home that's going through probate, don't know if she has any experience with that, it's a completely different transaction than regular real estate.
Yep.
Here's my card, have her call me. I'm completely happy to help her through and answer any questions that she has. I'm not looking to get paid off of the commission or anything, just want to be helpful.
Right, exactly. And that's exact good point on that. And this last one we did, knocked on the door.
Oh, this was interesting.
Well,
this was a first.
This was a first. So the Ring camera, and then we're talking through the Ring.
Yeah, so we're sitting there knocking, and we're talking about some other stuff, some business we got going on in Arizona. And then we hear from the little Ring doorbell, hello?
Right.
We're kind of like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
And, she made the mistake of saying, I'm not home right now, which, just for safety purposes, you never want to say to anybody who comes to your door that you're not home. You're in the shower, or not, well, I guess not the shower, but
you're busy. Yeah,
you're busy, right? I can't come to the door. But nevertheless, we did our whole door knocking pitch
through the Ring camera.
Well,
at least she saw us.
She saw us.
We said we're going to leave some information.
It's Gary and Ray.
Yep.
You spoke to us on the phone. Oh yeah. Hey, we were just in the area on another property. We're just going to leave some information for you next to this frog statue.
Right.
And she's like, oh, okay, great.
Yep.
We'll follow up with you, later on. Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, have a nice day. First time we ever had to do our pitch
through the Ring.
Through a Ring app.
That was the first for everything.
But remember, probate, you got to keep sticking and moving.
You got to keep sticking and moving. And this is like, we're just sharing you kind of a day in the life of a knocking doors with probate. You're going to get people home. You're going to get not people home.
You're going to get Ring apps.
You're going to get Ring apps. Now, that's a new one. You'll get a Ring app. So be prepared for that and do your pitch right there. Look in the Ring camera and just leave some information. And that's it. And so we're on to the next one.
Yeah, what's up with this next one?
This next one, this is actually somebody we did speak to, that someone did advise that they are going to sell, did give us their email, their information.
So they got an email from us. They're in our drip campaign.
Yep. They're in our drip campaign. So it's in the area that we're in today. So we're just going to stop by. We spoke to you. We gave the email. Here's who we are. Here's our, here's if you have any questions. But we just wanted to stop by and say hello. And again, we know you're not, your court date is next month. But if you have questions along the way, give us a call. Any information, we're here to help.
When the prospect that you're speaking with, whether on the phone or at the door, When they have a full month before their court date, that is perfect, because there's no rush. There's no rush, yet there's still a sense of urgency that you have to portray.
Yeah.
And the way I convey that sense of urgency is helping the executor or the administrator fully understand the process of selling a home during probate. And that's where that webinar really comes in handy.
Yeah.
They got 30 days before their court date. They don't feel like they're being pushed or rushed, but they know it's coming up. So they're more inclined of registering and signing up for the webinar, checking out the information. And after they check out that information, we're able to see that they were in fact on the webinar. And that opens up the door for us to call them back, have a conversation about the info that they just watched, answer questions, and our stock goes through the roof.
Correct. So that's just part of the deal. So we're out here showing you behind the scenes. So until the next one.
All right.
We'll see you shortly. All right, welcome back. So we just hit our other door, and
this was someone that we've been having a conversation with.
We did have a conversation with, and
she received an email. She's
very
on the drip
receptive.
system.
Going to sell.
She's going to sell. She looked at our resources.
Yep.
That we sent her. She looked at the webinar.
Yep.
So it was a good brief meeting with her husband. Go ahead and tell us about that.
Well, so you got to vibe each door because you don't know who's coming to the door. So a gentleman came to the door, a little standoffish, two guys showing up. So right away, I addressed, are you Mr. the last name of the administrator's last name? Yeah, what's up? And I said, well,
we didn't want to say, hey, is Angelica here? Because then it's like, why are these two guys looking for my wife?
Yes, you never, so you just address very professional. I said, look, we've been talking to Mrs. Gomez. We had a conversation. This is who we are. This is what it is. And then right away, oh, yeah. Okay, yes, you did mention that. Thank you guys so much. We said, well, look, we're in the area. We just wanted to stop by. So
he thanked us for stopping by.
He did, and we gave him the information, our cards, etc. But it was just, we're just non-harming. We just wanted to stop by, and so you can kind of put a face to the calls when we do call, and here's some informative information regarding the court date that is next month. And he was very thankful, and so that's what it is. We're just going to follow up as it gets closer to the court date. The husband's seen us. Oh yeah, those two dudes. Yeah, let's call them, and we're just going to be there.
They look professional.
Right.
They're obviously hustlers. They, no one else has come to the door.
Yeah, we're working. I mean, we're just out here trying to give information. So that's just part of the deal. So you always just gotta be ready. And again, when you're knocking the door, you never stand right up on the door. You always stand a few feet back, right? Body tilt to the side, disharmoning, and then you address whoever comes to the door. And that's just how this one went. So
and it was a good one.
It was a good one.
And we're gonna end up getting this deal.
That's the hope. If they are gonna sell, so they've already been looking at the resources that we sent.
They've looked at everything. They've looked at everything. They're looking at everything that we're sending them.
Right.
That's a very telling sign.
Well, and again, as we always keep saying, you just want to be that guy or gal that's giving them information. We're not pushing any sale. We're just giving them information because probate is a niche and there's a lot of nuances in between, and you just want to be that person that's giving them all that documentation information, and then when they're ready, they'll be reaching out. So, all right, well, we'll see you guys on the next one. All right, so we just had another good one. This is an administrator I called, had a good conversation with. This is probably a couple months ago.
And sent her an email.
And then I've been following up, leaving messages. I don't know, I probably left 15, right? No call back, but no big deal. And we're in the area, so we're going to the home, and there's a garage sale going on, and we're like, oh man,
everybody's there, the whole family.
The whole family's there. I said, oh shit, I think that's the home. So we pulled up right in front, got out, just, hey, you're having a garage sale, and so we asked if Mrs. The administrator was there, and she kind of popped out from in the garage, and we just kind of said who we are, and we wanted to say hello. We were in the area, give them information. So they were a little standoffish, but then you started talking about.
She asked what it is that we do.
Right.
I love that question.
Yeah, because you broke it down.
I broke it down. I explained that we specifically handle real estate that's going through probate, that we handle all 58 counties in California. It's the only kind of real estate that we work.
Right.
And then I broke down in just a nutshell how different probate is when you're selling real estate compared to just selling real estate in general.
Right.
What to look out for, how we protect the estate. And then I also reiterated that the email that we sent to the administrator breaks all that down. We gave him one of our postcards. We explained that, you know, the QR code will take them to some more information. They were checking it out. And then they asked the $1 million question, what are your fees? That's a good sign. So that tells me that we made a good impression on them. We explained how the fees work, that we don't really have necessarily a set fee.
It's all negotiable.
It's all negotiable. What we do is we bring options to the estate. And based upon what is in the best interest of the estate, what option is easiest for the estate, our fees are correlated to the option. And I even told them we have options where the estate pays 0 commission.
Yep.
I said, you know,
cash offer, an investor, right?
But we could, I said, you know, we can get more into those specifics a little bit later on. We just wanted to meet you face to face so you can see who's been calling you.
Calling you, leaving 15 messages.
Got them laughing.
Yeah, and you could see the theme here, right?
Yeah.
The common denominator is you're just following up we don't know who's going to be at the door or the garage sale, but you just show up and they put a face to the voice and you just give information like you just explained. And then at the end we said, great, well, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You know, we'll be following up. And then one thing I like to do, and this is a habit I've learned, is I always go and I always get like $200 worth of $2 bills, right? And I hand them out when just to people, random people, good energy. And I also, on top of that, I get normally every couple months, I get $100 worth of $5 gift cards to Starbucks. And that's all I have. And so that's what I did at the end. I said, look, you know, here's a little something for you guys, a lucky $2 bill and a little Starbucks. Hopefully you guys make a little more money, you know, make great money on the garage sale. But oh my God, thank you so much. So it's just another little touch you can do to add, right? But that's a little something that,
when we showed
it's
up,
good energy. You put it out there.
when we showed up, they first obviously thought we were there to buy stuff at the
Like,
garage
who are these
sale.
2 cops? We undercover. Hey, go, get the stuff.
And I wanted to break the tension a
Undercover.
little bit, so I was asking, hey, you guys got any golf clubs? And
Yeah.
they didn't have any golf clubs. But like Ray said, they were, you know, when they found out that we weren't there for the garage sale, that we were there to talk about probate real estate,
Right.
the guard went up a little bit. But by the end of the conversation,
It was down.
the guard was down. They were very comfortable with us. They were laughing with us and just conversing back and forth like normal people would do. And, you know, based on that exchange, they qualified for Ray's gift of gratitude.
That's right. You put good energy out, nothing expected back, but that's all it is. And that's just good energy put out there. So, anyhow, well, until the next one.
What is the next one? Oh, okay, this guy.
Yep, this is this guy. So we'll be talking about this guy shortly. See you soon. Welcome back. So this last one we did was actually a very, very good.
Probably the best one of the day.
Yeah, it was. And this is a gentleman that I've been talking to. Him and his brother are basically 50-50. He didn't know what he was going to do. I would call him, follow up. You know, we're still a ways out, and blah, blah, blah. So last communication with him was probably in mid-October. And it was in the area, so we figured let's stop by their property. And again, his property was out in more like a ranch style, so it kind of goes to a dead end.
Long
driveway, garage is open, so it's like, well, let's pull in. We can't turn back now. And a lady comes out, I believe his wife, and yeah, may I help you? I said, yeah, it's Mr. So-and-so here, and yeah, just a second. So he comes out, a little standoffish, right? Two guys, as expected. 2 guys show up, right? And he basically's like, yeah, how can I help you? So we just explained, hey, how's it going? This is who I am. We've been talking on the phone. We were in the area, and we just wanted to stop by so you could put a face to the voices and just check in how things are going. We want to give you some information. And then at that point, right, we get in the postcard, and then they started asking questions, and you did a phenomenal job by breaking stuff down. So break that down and kind of how that came about.
Well, the normal spiel is I always explain all I do is probate real estate.
Which is true.
Well, yeah, I mean, all I do is probate real estate.
Right.
But that's just a preface to give them the idea that the next thing I'm about to say has validity to it, because I just told them all I handle is probate real estate. And then I explained how selling a home during probate is a completely different transaction than selling real estate in general. And he asked me, well, how so?
Yep.
Great. I'm glad he asked me
Yep.
that question.
Yep.
So then I got into the disclosures. I went through every single disclosure that's different. And he said, well, aren't disclosures part of every real estate transaction anyways? And I said, well, yeah, but when you're selling a probate, a lot of the disclosures you're exempt from. And I explained what the transfer disclosure statement is and why it's exempt, the NHD, the earthquake guides, mellow roofs, smoke detectors. I went through the whole gamut with him. And I can tell that he was picking up what I was putting down. You know, he definitely at that point realized I knew what I was talking about. I wasn't just claiming to work probate real estate. I was walking the walk.
Right.
So then he started asking more questions, and the key question
he asked
is, what are your fees?
And right there, let me just dive in and you continue. When they ask that, that means they're open to what you're offering, because why else would they be asking what's a fee unless they weren't interested? So he did, and you you explained it.
I never give them a number.
Right.
If someone asks me what my fee is, I don't tell them, oh, it's 6%. No, I don't do that. I tell them, well, our fees are really determined based upon the direction the estate wants to go. Well, we're going to bring you a multitude of different options.
Right.
And our goal is what is best for the estate.
Correct.
So
always,
out of the options that we bring to the table, our fees are based upon which option you would like to realize
is best for the estate.
So I said, we have an option where if we wanted to get the house fixed up, we can help get the house fixed up and top of market value, and we'll put it on the market
for a fee for that.
Top of value, and there's a fee associated with that. Said if you didn't want to fix it up and you want to sell on the market as is, there's a fee for that. Or if you wanted to just be done with it and maybe sell it off market to, like one of our cash buyers, there's no fee for that.
Right.
I said, but really at the end of the day, it's whatever direction you want to go with the estate.
Yep.
We're going to tailor our approach to help you realize that end goal. And we're in it for you to win it. So we don't have a set fee. Our fee is based upon whatever it takes to help you realize the goal that you're trying to reach once the property is sold. And he absolutely loved that.
Right.
So we gave him our information. I explained to them what the QR code does. He was checking it out. He gave it to his wife. I think she scanned it right away. And I mentioned to him, the probate webinar, and that it's going to get into a little bit more of the details of everything that you're going to need to know if you decide to sell the estate home. And I said, again, it's just information that's going to open up your eyes and prepare you for when you go down that road. There's no obligation for you to hire us.
Right.
That made him super comfortable.
Well, and there isn't. We're giving information. If he does, hopefully will be an option. If he doesn't, that's fine. You basically said, hey, just information, and here's what it is.
And from that point forward, the conversation went in a completely different direction. We weren't even talking about probate anymore. We were talking about his neighborhood and how the sheriff lives next door, and there's 2 drug houses and the whole 9 yards. And then he was talking about the house. I asked him if it was vacant, and he said, yeah, but We have all these neighbors who have been there, and
which is great neighbors.
Which is great. They all watch out for the house. I was able to explain to him, well, for vacant homes, we offer something called probate property preservation. That's where we secure the property, and we make sure that we maintain the integrity of the curb appeal.
Right.
And we send somebody by every single week who makes sure that the house is still in order, that no one's broken in, and that the lawn still looks good and all that stuff. And
Yep.
he loved that, but they already have that covered with their neighbors.
Right.
And then we just had regular conversation, not even about real estate. And then we left. Remember, you never end a meeting or a phone call without setting the next thing, right? So I confirmed that we had his email address, which we did not have at the time. Got his email address, told him I was going to be sending him some more information to be able to help him with his decision-making process. He was all for it. So now we've completely opened up the lines of communication. When we get back from our last appointment here, they're going to go into the drip system, and that you're going to see us listing that property as well. It's all about relationships, that, and showing up in person to put a face with the phone calls. It just elevates your stock to a whole other level.
Absolutely.
He did say that they've gotten a lot of phone calls from different real estate agents, and that's where I started to explain, my father built our company over 40 years, and for 25 years he traveled the country teaching probate real estate to other real estate agents. And my father used to always say 95% of agents out there don't really understand how to facilitate a sale that's going through probate. He asked me, well, how's that? And I explained. I said, a lot of agents, they're calling probate leads because they can get the information from the courthouse because it's public record. And the wife confirmed that. And our administrator knew that. But the confirmation was good. And I explained, I said, most of the agents that are going to be that have been calling you, they're also calling for sale by owners, and they're calling expireds. They're calling through all of their leads, their buyer leads. They're calling through everybody that same day. And they also happen to have some probate leads that they're calling. But none of them are talking about what we're talking about. And he agreed. Nobody that's ever called him talked about their certified letters, the notice of proposed action, the federal tax statement letter, the disclosures that they're exempt from, the documents that they need to have when they're going to be closing the sale.
Number to set up the bank account.
None of that stuff was covered. They talked about how they got assigned their court probate referee who does the appraisal. I explained to them how that worked, and that's exactly what their attorney told them. So guess what? My stock as being a specialist went through the roof, and I didn't have to tell them I was a specialist. I just told them all I handle is probate real estate. And from the content in my conversation, they realized, these guys are probate specialists. So now the lines of communication are wide open. They're going to take our calls when we call. We have the green light to send them emails and get them more info. And on one of these next roadshows or one of our next up and coming podcasts, we're going to be talking about this transaction, and we'll touch back and say, oh yeah, this was the house where we had to drive up the long driveway, and we had the good conversation because we're going to get this deal too.
Yep. So anyhow, you could just see that there's a lot of informative stuff that needs to be given before any transaction even takes place. And like you explained, just getting in the car, getting in front of them just adds another layer, and your stock does go through the roof. So until next time, we're off to the next one. We'll see you guys shortly.
Boom.